Welcome to Kill Team Casuals, a podcast all about Kill Team filmed in 3 different time zones by 3 different gents. Enjoy.
Hey friends, Ben here, the only one on the podcast without a cool accent. Just dropping by to say thanks a ton for listening or watching, however you enjoy the podcast. It really does mean a lot to us. And if you are a faithful listener or unfaithful listener, we don't judge, and you're thinking, man, I just can't get enough of these 3 rascally boys and their casual Kill Team talk. What else can I do to support? Where else can I find these guys? Well, friend, I would point you to the Kill Team Casuals Patreon page. For just a few bucks a month, whatever you wouldn't miss falling out of your pocket, you can get access to the full long-form video podcast, as well as stay up to know, in the know, or all around the know, all up inside the know, if you will, on what's going on, all these Patreon extracurricular activities, this fun stuff. So, and if you want to be a real baller, you could even be a guest on Legions of Rust, the world-famous game show at the very tippy-top tier. And if you want to be the coolest nerd at your local game store, you can check out some sweet, sweet Casual Wargamers merch. That's short for merchandise, if you didn't know, at our Teespring shop. It's getting a little too silly. casualwargamers.creator-teespring.com. And as always, we go live most Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. Thanks so much. I will shut up. Back to the lovely show.
What do you think about the new way that they're shaping up the boxes? So we've seen it with the new Kill Team and the new Warcry, in that they the boxes are going to be 2 teams. Well, if they follow the trend, the boxes are 2 teams in a little bit of terrain, and then a big box with terrain and mats and stuff like that. It'd be interesting to see the price point. The 2 teams and the tiny bit of terrain will presumably be a lot cheaper than a full starter set. But
I think for me, it feels like it might have been a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction to probably the negative feedback they got from ITD, because I think the issue with ITD was you got 4 sets and they all had fundamentally the same foundation in the box, which was the main foundation, and then they had 2 teams, and you usually had an upgrade sprue. Whereas if you're going to give me a brand new terrain kit, Octarius, Chelnath, whatever, and it feels like it's unique and it's going to be different to the next set and the next set, I didn't necessarily feel the need as much to have to separate them out. I feel like they nearly missed the bus. It's like, you needed to have this mindset when you did ITD, because that was where it hurt everyone. I've painted up 1 set of ITD and the upgrade sprues because there's no real point for me to paint up the other 3 sets, and I think a lot of people feel that way. But if they now bring out what we saw in Salvation, that terrain, and then if the next one's different again, it's good to have the option. I just hope that it doesn't then come back in a negative way of availability again, because they don't know, therefore, how many sets of just terrain to make or how many sets of just the teams to make. If they get those numbers wrong on what's available, it might end up actually being a bit more of a mess. And I do worry about that a little bit, because the supply issues we've already seen have been a bit messy already.
But it's a weird one, because it does mean that if it's starting a new season with a brand new bunch of terrain rules, then aren't we going to need this terrain? And people might have it already. That's fine. But if they're making terrain specific rules, and then they're hiding it behind like £100 box set, so it ends up costing you an extra 60 quid over what it would have, over what a standard one would have been, and then you can be like, right, okay, I don't want it. But the thing is, it's true. If they'd done this for Into the Dark, that would have been amazing, because the first set was all I needed, and then if all the other boxes had been 30 quid less and just the teams, that would have been perfect for me. But the first box, it feels like if it's setting you up to play this new terrain, it kind of needs to have it all in. If you want to play it exactly right from the box. That's how I feel it. And the thing and this is terrible, because obviously I've got at one point I had 4 of these weird tan ground mats, but by all accounts the one that's coming with just the teams, it's not going to come with a mat, or if it is, it's just a paper one or I'm just like, I'm hoping that's not true, and it still comes with a cardboard mat. But it's just sort of like, I don't think it's coming. I think it's just terrain, 2 teams, and there's like, you've got terrain already, and it's like, yes, but you're including in this box very specific terrain rules that I might not have. And the problem is, all the official maps, like for tournaments, are based on the full terrain kits, or at least they were, and now it's going to be so much harder for someone to make a universal terrain map. Like I'm thinking of like Slater with his Turning Point Tactics. He makes the terrain maps for like tournaments, and it's going to be so much harder if you can't guarantee that people will have bought that box, because now you're relying on a group of people to have spent collectively 500 quid just on terrain. And who wants it, with the best will in the world? Who is looking at a game which has amazing minis and goes, oh, I'm going to buy a building? Like, no one, I don't think anyone has ever prioritized terrain happily.
No.
Like, you're just like, I have to paint terrain. At best. Yeah. Like, what I do is I get the terrain, I get a massive sponge, and I just paddle beat it until it looks good enough. And then I wash it with Nuln Oil, and then I'm like, hopefully this will do. But I don't want to paint that. And it's just, that's where it's the feel bad, where I'm like, oh, like, I just feel like it's going to be difficult.
For me, that's exactly, I always feel, and maybe, and we'll see if the chat agrees, but I definitely think, like, if you're going to start a thing with a new season and that's it, each one seems to have had a theme, or at least that's what they're kind of pushing as we go forward. So you probably want to look at the first one of the season is your big box set. It's like the launch of a new edition. So you have the big box set. It's got 2 teams in it. It's got all the rules. It's got all those bits and pieces ready to go. And that's your starter set for the season. And you get that. Yeah. And then every release for the rest of the season adds pieces and components to that, but it's cheaper. So you always get, and you make it that starter set is available in larger numbers for the whole time of the season's run. Yeah. So anyone who wants to jump on a bit late can come back in and go, oh, yep, I can still get the starter set. But that exactly for those that are in it from the get-go, you're not having to paint more terrain than you would want to, but you're also excited about that terrain because it's got custom rules. It's interesting, so you want to have it because it's a key component of the game. Yeah.
I think that would be that's the perfect dream scenario.
Thanks for watching. The full pod is available where you listen to your podcast. We stream live on Twitch at Casual Wargamers, and the full video podcast is available now to all tiers of our Patreon. See you next week.